Congratulations, Marvin. You finally got promoted. No more hard hat and lunch pail for you, fella. First time you get to use the executive elevator all the way to the 3rd floor. Why, you've got it made. Another week of vacation, cloth napkins at lunch, and the key to the executive washroom. Well, don't forget to maintain a good safety attitude on your new job. Safety's still your #1 priority. You'll be sorry. Well, Marvin, you're a real big shot now, huh? Think you can get by without safety, do you? Marvin, can't you see that it's dangerous to leave safety outside that office door? Your environment may seem hazard-free, but there's still plenty of potential for accidents. Hello, I'm Andy LeGrand. You know, the hazards at some work sites are fairly obvious. The loud noise of machinery, high-powered cutting tools, toxic gases. Makes the office seem pretty tame by comparison. Well, those of us who work in offices don't usually have to worry about 2x4s falling on our heads, but we do face plenty of potential hazards every day. These hazards can lead to accidents, and whether they occur on an assembly line floor or on an office carpet, accidents cause trouble. They can bring pain and suffering and can damage equipment. And while we're recovering, or when equipment is down for repairs, our coworkers end up working harder to make up for lost time. Marvin, relax. You don't have to go to such extremes to protect yourself. Hiding from hazards isn't the answer. It takes real preparation to be safe. Pay attention to the basics. The first thing is to develop a safety-first attitude, because the best way to stay safe is to prevent accidents from happening in the first place. Be aware of the hazards that exist in your environment. Become familiar with the equipment you use, and keep track of the work that's going on around you. Thinking safety first also means paying attention to your body. You're at your best and safest when your body is healthy and in good shape. Know your strengths and your limitations. Don't take on anything that you can't handle. Remember to also pay attention to your state of mind. Concentrate on what you're doing. Learning to pace yourself will make you more efficient. And control your emotions. Don't let your temper get the better of you. Marvin, what's gotten into you? Can't you see all those trip hazards? Remember, having a safety-first attitude means being aware of the hazards in your environment. Let's take a closer look at some of the things you'll need to be aware of. Good housekeeping isn't just for the home. Keeping things in order at the office will make your environment easier to manage and more predictable. It will also help prevent accidents from occurring. One of the most common ways office workers injure themselves is through a slip, trip, or fall. Remember to cross floors with caution. Watch out for recently waxed floors and loose carpeting, floorboards, or tiles. Spills need to be wiped up as soon as they occur, and caution signs should be put up around the spill until the floor has dried completely. Beware of electrical and telephone cords lying across the floor. They can easily become dangerous trip hazards. If you spot a problem, look into correcting it. If you need help, see your supervisor. And don't leave items laying on the floor. A pencil or even a paper clip could lead you or a coworker to a nasty fall.
Oh.
There's more, Marvin. Be careful with chairs. Make sure all 4 legs are on the ground. Tilting back can result in a loss of balance, sending both you and the chair flying. Conduct periodic inspections for broken springs and loose screws. With metal chairs, check for defective welds. And never use a chair as a ladder. They're not meant to support you while you're standing. Take the time to be safe. Use a ladder or a step stool if you need to get something that's out of reach. Stairs and walkways can be problems as well. Always use the handrail when climbing, and take one step at a time. Keep stairs and walkways clear of debris and other potential trip hazards. Paths should be clear and unobstructed at all times. Avoid carrying loads that block your view of trip hazards, and don't hurry, especially when rounding corners. Certain precautions should be taken when walking near doors. Doors should be approached from the side away from the hinges. This will enable you to step out of the way if someone else is approaching from the other side. Inadequate lighting can also contribute to a slip, trip, or fall. Make sure you use enough light to see all the potential hazards in your environment, and report light fixtures that seem dusty or out of order as soon as you see them. When you're away from work, be careful of dimly lit streets and parking lots. Slippery roads and sidewalks can be especially dangerous in the dark. Hi, Marvin. Looks like you've got a lot of filing to do. Having trouble? Would you like me to show you how to store office materials?
All right.
All right. Let's begin with loading drawers. To prevent tipping, new filing cabinets should be filled from the bottom up. Never overload the top drawers. This will help balance the cabinets and make them less susceptible to being knocked over. While using a filing cabinet, open one drawer at a time. This limits the dangers of imbalance and keeps your fingers from being squashed. Close drawers gently and use the handles. Don't use excessive force on drawers that are stuck. Forcing them could cause the cabinet to tip over. Never overload shelving units. And remember to store heavy or fragile items on the lower shelves. Top-heavy units tend to fall over. Objects that are stored on top of bookcases are too easy to knock over. Store items neatly within the bookcase, never on top. Keeping frequently used items within reach will make your life easier. There's also plenty of opportunity to draw blood in the office environment. Objects that are sharp or pointed can cause painful cuts and punctures. When they're not being used, keep them boxed and store them separately in a drawer. Never reach for them blindly. Store razor blades in a covered container. When they're worn out, dispose of them by wrapping them in paper and marking the package as potentially dangerous. Jammed staplers should be treated carefully. Don't fiddle around. Take the time to open the stapler and see what's wrong with it. Keep your fingers away from the blades of paper cutters, and avoid trying to cut too many sheets at one time. Having to apply too much pressure could lead to an accident. The paper itself may seem harmless, but stationery and envelopes can inflict painful paper cuts that are often slow to heal. Finger guards should be worn when handling stacks of paper. Avoid licking stamps or envelopes. Instead, use a sponge or other sealing device. This will lessen the chance of a cut to the mouth. It's also much more sanitary. Broken glass can be another office hazard. If you come across it, remove it immediately with a broom and dustpan. Don't use your fingers. Place the broken glass in a small covered container or wrap it in paper and mark it. Pick up any remaining splinters or shards with a damp towel and discard immediately. Marvin, Marvin, do you know what you're doing? You're being careless with electricity. That's too many things running off one outlet. And hiding an overloaded extension cord under the rug is a real fire hazard. What if it overheats? You've got to learn how to work safely with electricity. Make sure you know how to properly operate equipment before you start. Be alert for electrical hazards like frayed or bare wires, overloaded outlets, and improperly grounded wires. These are fire hazards that should be dealt with as soon as they're spotted. Before adjusting or repairing a machine, you should turn it off and unplug it from the outlet. If a machine is causing trouble, whether it is overheating, smoking, or causing shocks, unplug the machine and report the problem as soon as possible. Avoid wearing scarves, loose sleeves, belts, or dangling jewelry around machines with exposed or unguarded moving parts. Photocopiers present unique problems. Remember to avoid physical contact with copier toners. Prolonged contact can be hazardous. If you must add toner, wear rubber gloves and a smock, and be sure to wash your hands and face when you're finished. When you're operating a photocopier, try to keep the document covered down. This prevents eye damage from the powerful scanning light inside the machine. Hi, Marvin. Is that the latest word processing program? Well, before you get started, there are a few computer safety tips you should know. That's right, Marvin. For instance, you should know how to work safely with your monitor. Watching a monitor for an extended period of time can cause eye strain. Symptoms may include headaches and blurred vision. If you're working long hours, try varying your routine. Take a break if you need to. Glare from the monitor can add to the problem of eye strain. You can reduce glare by adjusting the angle of the screen, by changing the viewing distance, and by keeping the screen free of dust. You can also fight glare by adding an anti-glare screen or by wearing specially tinted lenses. Lighting can also be a problem. A high level of office lighting may overpower the brightness of your video monitor. This too can lead to eye strain. Uncorrected vision can also be a problem. Eye strain can be reduced through regular eye exams. Have a checkup at least once a year to help ensure good vision. Another common office problem involves the way we sit. Poor posture creates muscle strain on the lower back. You should practice keeping your back straight. Sit well toward the back of the chair with your knees slightly higher than your waist. And keep your feet flat on the floor or on a footrest. These things will help you keep your back straight and relieve muscle strain. If you're working with a keyboard, you may need to adjust the height of your chair or even the height of the keyboard itself. Keeping your forearms at right angles to your body will also help maintain good posture. Marvin, computers are designed to make your work easier, not harder. So sit up straight and watch your lighting and get back to work.
Other hazards in the office can be more threatening. For instance, we should be aware of fire hazards and take steps to eliminate them.
Cleaning fluids, solvent-soaked rags, and photocopier inks are all flammable. They should be stored and disposed of properly. Electrical appliances have the potential to overheat, spark, and ignite accidental fires. Exercise caution when using coffee makers, toaster ovens, hot plates, and other such appliances. Use them correctly and turn them off when you're finished. And remember, never overload an outlet. This puts too much stress on the wires and can cause a fire. Smoking can be a fire hazard as well as a health hazard. If you must smoke, do so only in designated areas. And dispose of matches, ashes, and cigarette butts in proper receptacles. Keeping these things in mind will reduce the risk of an accidental fire.
Sometimes, no matter how careful we are, things just go wrong. Remember, in an emergency situation, we can never be too prepared. Don't rely on others. If an accident occurs, you must be ready to act.
In case of an injury, help calm the victim. Knowing CPR and other basic first aid procedures can prove invaluable, but above all, seek medical attention. Keep important phone numbers posted for easy access so that help can be called as quickly as possible. Be aware of the location of fire alarms and extinguishers, and don't hesitate to use them if they're needed. Remember, though, if a fire does break out, you must notify emergency response personnel as soon as possible. Real firefighting is best handled by trained professionals. In the event of a fire, get out. You should be familiar with at least 2 escape routes. Never use an elevator during a fire.
Safety is serious business. No matter where you work, it's important to have a safety-first attitude. Know the hazards in your environment and how to minimize their risks. Keep yourself fit and healthy, and you'll find it easier to stay safe.
Well, Marvin, are you ready to work safely in your new office? Remember, you'll maintain a safety-first attitude. You'll be aware of the hazards in your environment. And you'll know what to do if something goes wrong. Marvin, if you can follow these steps, then you'll climb another rung higher on the corporate safety ladder. Marvin? Hey, they've really got your nose to the grindstone, don't they? Well, you've got a handle on safety. Now all you have to do is keep at it. I'll see you after you finish with those files. How about next spring?